What is up, my beautiful people? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, week, month, year, life, and either way, I hope that you follow and subscribe to this channel because that's what this channel is all about. Helping you live a healthier and happier life. Helping us all live a healthier and happier life. So today's video is about a style of breathwork that is deeply transformational. Shamanic breathwork is the term for it. This is very closely related to holotropic breathwork. Okay, holotropic breathwork actually comes from shamanic breathwork, and I say both names because it'll be easier to find studies and research done on holotropic breathwork because it's the more westernized, kind of medicinalized version of shamanic breathwork. Okay, but they're really one and the same. So shamanic breathwork is something that the indigenous used to use to help people process deep traumas, emotions, stuck energy. And the cool thing about it is this guy, Stan Grof, who was a, psychotherapist. And back when, in the 1950s, when LSD was being studied with, when they were allowing professors and psychologists to use this as a tool for therapy. This guy, Stan Grof, was using LSD and had some amazing results. He was curing alcoholism. He was bringing up repressed traumas in people that normally people wouldn't be comfortable talking about and helping people work through that and overcome depression and anxiety and all these things. So when they made it illegal, Stan Grof was really, like, how do I do this now? How do I get the same type of results without having this tool, this LSD? So he went and did a bunch of research and ended up finding this shamanic breathwork. Okay, so that's where holotropic breathwork comes from. Anyway, let's get more into it. Now, what you're doing with this breathwork is you're breathing extremely deep, okay, all through the mouth. Trying to fill up your lungs completely with each breath in and emptying them out completely with each breath out. And it's a circular breath, which means there's no pause between the inhalation and exhalation. It's a constantly moving breath, okay? And what this does is it helps deactivate the frontal lobe of our brain, and it puts more energy back into the limbic system, right? Which processes emotions, deep memories and traumas, and because of this, it might bring up some repressed memories. So that's something to kind of be aware of, and just to warn you about. This isn't like the easy, like 10-15 minute feel-good breath work. This is a style of breath work that will get you deep into your shadow, as they call it in kind of the modern day. Okay, so the shadow is really like the unconscious part of ourselves. It's the part of ourselves that maybe we don't quite understand, but is very, very influential in our day-to-day life because it dictates kind of our patterns, our habits, maybe the way we think, the things we believe, the fears that we hold on to that keep us from pursuing the life of our dreams, right? So this breath work for me has kept me from the brink of suicide, to be quite honest with you guys. This breath work has allowed me to overcome so many deep emotional situations. Like when I'm feeling like just genuinely like crap and it's not some obvious physical ailment, like I broke my leg or something, like obviously that doesn't feel good. When I'm feeling like mentally and emotionally like crap, I do this breath work and it always makes me feel better. Okay, so that's really what this is about, guys. This breath work is to help your mental, emotional, spiritual self be free from the past, to live in the moment, and to create a better future. All right, so the tracks that I like to play for this, I'm going to include them in the description of this video, at least a couple of them. I'm not going to include all. But these tracks move through different frequencies that relate to different emotional centers in our body. They start at a really low frequency, almost kind of dark sounding with drums. And they move up to like higher frequencies, like, oh, you know, like flutes and chimes, and really like those high-pitched frequencies. And by moving through those frequencies, it'll help you process different emotions relating to different things in different parts of your life. So I really like to have the soundtrack on, but understand that the cool thing about breathwork in general, and this one included, is that it's an empowering thing to learn. You don't need anything but your breath. As long as you can breathe, which if you're alive, you can, as long as you can breathe, you can do the breath work. So no matter where you are, no matter what situation you're in, you can use this and any of the other breathwork styles that I teach to get through it, okay? So some things to be aware of with this breathwork. Like I said, repressed memories may come up. You wanna let yourself cry, scream. You wanna let yourself feel all the feelings that are coming up, okay? So I always, when I do this breathwork, I warn anybody that is, nearby, near enough to hear me scream or crying really loud, and tell them, hey, I'm doing some deep emotional work. I might be screaming or crying. Everything's okay. Don't be worried about me. Okay, this is really important, guys, because you don't want somebody to burst in the middle of your breathwork and kind of ruin the whole session because, or somebody to call the cops because they think you're, being attacked or something. Because really, some of the things, at least for me, I went through a lot of deep trauma as a child, and in my early adulthood. So when I do this breathwork, sometimes I'm like blood curdling screaming. Now I keep a pillow nearby as well because, again, just to kind of muffle it and reduce the risk of somebody thinking that I'm being hurt and calling the police or ambulance. I keep that pillow nearby and scream into the pillow, then take it down when I'm done screaming and keep doing the breath. And when I'm screaming, crying really loud, again, I'll put the pillow and kind of muffle the sounds a little bit, okay? Another thing that happens often with this breath is people get cramps, or tetany is what they call it. Tetany is when your hands or feet or any other joint really in your body like cramps up really hard and locks up. It almost feels like you can't move it out of this like tight cramped position. Don't be alarmed. It's okay. This actually means you're doing really good. What we would say in energy medicine is this is like the stuck energy starting to move and starting to be released, okay? So you'll notice that when you're doing this, it'll feel really intense, the cramping, and then all of a sudden, there'll come a point where it just releases. And usually, when it releases, wherever it was, let's say it's in your hands will feel better. They'll feel less tight, they'll feel more, you'll feel more blood flow, more aliveness, more vibrancy moving through your hands. So, that's again a really good sign. It means that you're releasing the energy that's been stuck. There's a really great book about all this. I know it sounds really weird, at least for me at first when I was learning about this stuff. I'm like, what do you mean emotions stuck in my muscles? But there's a whole book called The Body Keeps the Score that a physiologist and psychologist wrote about how our muscles actually have a memory and they hold on to trauma. Okay, so when we're in traumatic situations and we tense up and we, get scared like that, then there's a memory in our muscles from that. Okay, so that's what you're really working through when you feel those physical sensations. You might also feel tingles, numbness, hot, cold. Don't be alarmed. Keep breathing through it, guys. I promise you, this breath work will not hurt you. Okay, now, there is one thing to consider. If you have a serious heart or lung condition, consult your physician before doing this breath work, okay? That's the only time that if you have a serious heart or lung condition, doing this rapid style breathing might not be safe and effective for you, okay? So if you are dealing with any serious heart or lung condition, like I said, please just contact your doctor and make sure that he actually looks through the information about this breath work and can give you a good opinion. All right, other than that, that's really it, guys. So like I said, I'm going to include the tracks for this breath work in the description below, and the style, what you're doing this entire, and actually, that's a good one. I almost forgot about this part. What you're doing through most of the track, okay? The tracks are anywhere from like 40 minutes long to 2 hours long. So you can pick how dedicated you want to get to this. Obviously, the longer you do it, the more intense and the more you'll be able to release. But maybe you don't have 2 hours in your day to dedicate to it today, so you only want to do the 40-minute one. Okay? They're all fine. Every one of them will help. Just duration helps even more. But what I was saying is, when the music is the lower frequencies, so usually it's for the first half or first 3/4 of the track, you can tell because there's an intensity to the music. It sounds like that. You want to be breathing all through the mouth, deeply and intensely like that, okay? Then when the music shifts to more light sounds, more like airy, it slows down, the frequency gets higher, then you can start breathing through the nose and breathing really slowly. This is like the relaxing, calming part of the breath work, okay? The first part is meant to kind of excite your nervous system and get you into that state of releasing and crying and screaming and getting it all out. And then the second part of the breath work is meant to calm the nervous system and help bring more clarity and focus. This is usually when some of the pieces will start coming together in your mind and you'll start understanding your trauma, understanding why it happened, what it did for you that was good. Because believe it or not, guys, trauma doesn't always just do bad things to us, okay? Trauma sometimes causes us to make different decisions that lead us in a different path that is actually overall beneficial for us. And even if it wasn't at first, we can make it that way, okay? We can turn our pain into gain. We can turn our dirt into gold, okay? It's possible, guys. It's just about working through it and then finding the purpose in it and then using that to help others. Because guess what? You're not the only one going through it, I promise. This is a big world, and there is a lot of pain in this world, okay? People are going through a lot out there. So use your pain, use your past, use that dark stuff as a way to transcend the kind of like airy, the fluffy, how do I put this? Use your past as a way to transcend fakeness, as a way to connect on a deep level with people and help them through a hard time, okay? Be the person that you wish was there for you. And I promise you that, what it does for your heart and soul, it makes it all worth it, guys, okay? So just to kind of reiterate one more time, make sure we're covering all the bases with this breath work. Turn on one of the soundtracks that I've included in the description, or just go to YouTube and type in Holotropic Breath-work or Shamanic Breath-work soundtrack and find your own. But I've included some great ones below, so I suggest you check there first. So turn on the soundtrack, start the deep circular mouth breathing, okay? When an emotion comes up, let it come up. Okay, you can pause the breath to scream and cry and just feel whatever comes up. And then when the emotion passes, return to the breath. Okay, when you're kind of, let's say you started just bawling your eyes out and then you kind of stop and the tears dry up and you're in a space of kind of nothingness again, start the breath again. You can go deeper and get more emotions out. When the music shifts into a very slow, high frequency sounds, that's when you can start breathing through the nose and slow it down and start calming your nervous system down to bring more clarity, stillness, and peace into your body. And by the end of this, guys, I promise you, leave it in the comment section or write me if you don't get something amazing out of this, because every single time I do it and every single person I've done it with has gotten something good out of it. Okay, so I promise you this breath work will make you feel better no matter where you're at, no matter how deep down you are. And it does help, if you're somebody that really is deep down in depression or something like that, try to have a support system or a person to talk to after doing this breath work, so that maybe they can help you process some of the emotions that come up. It always feels good when we have support and understanding around us. And I'm here for that, guys. If you don't have anybody yet, reach out to me. My Facebook is Raw Bliss, RABLISS. BLISS. Okay, you can find me on there. You can reach out to me if you need a hand, if you need some support. And other than that, I hope you all, again, are having a beautiful life. And if there's anything I can do to help you have a more beautiful life, leave it in the comments section or reach out to me on Facebook. And as always, feel better, live with vitality.